Hi, lacrosse fans. It's Kraig, Raider Fan 77 with Ballsack and Chewia channel. And I'd like to take you back to the greatest day on the face of the planet, April 8th, 1981, in Allison Park, Pennsylvania, where the best tight end in the game, tightest end in the game, if you know what I mean, Jeff Dugan, number 83 for the Minnesota Vikings, was born. He started his illustrious career off at Maryland after he graduated shortly after the year 2003. He was drafted in the year 2004 with the 19th overall pick in the 7th round by the Minnesota Vikings. Pretty high draft pick, if you know what I mean. I mean, if you look at this guy, he is 6'4", 258 pounds of just pure steel and slowness. And he can barely catch the ball. But yet, for some reason, he is my favorite player. I mean, in his 4-year career with the Vikings, he's had a total of 23 receptions for 161 yards. Actually, Brett Favre's only right now 22 receptions behind him on the Vikings' all-time career receptions list. He's about 162 yards behind him on the all-time total yards list. But we'll take a look back at his started his career back in the 06-07 season. He had 8 receptions for 40 yards. For most tight ends, that's a good quarter. His longest reception was for 10 yards, and he's the backup tight end that year. He did have 5 first down receptions with 8 receptions. That's a pretty good ratio. I'll take that. He's showing promise. But then we're gonna flip back to the 07 year, 08 year, the year I graduated. The Vikings decided to hand him off the ball twice. Where did this ever become a good idea, Brad Childers? And I think that's the first time we should have started questioning your ability to coach a professional football team when you hand off Jeff Dugan the ball. Not a smart decision. But regardless, I mean, he made good on his opportunity. 2 carries for 7 yards, 3.5 yards a carry. Not too shabby. Oh, but out of those 2 carries, he did fumble the ball one time, and he lost that fumble to the opposing team. But on the receiving yards, on the receiving side of the ball, he did gain 17 more yards with 1 less reception, but sadly, he only averaged 3.6 yards a game. I mean, clearly they were not using him enough in a big enough offensive role. So he averaged about 8.1 yards and
1.8.
8.1 yards.
Oh, geez.
Sorry, producer, you gotta cut out of these.
Yeah,
he did limit his first down catches to 2 out of the 5, so he took a seat back there, and he did not catch a touchdown pass unlike the previous year. Oh, but then we take a closer look back at the stats, and his longest reception was 27 yards, so that means he almost received half his yards in 1 catch. That's right, 27 minus out of 57 there's 30 yards on 6 catches. We averaged 5 catches. 5 yards a catch, it's ridiculous. And then the next season, the 08-09 season, he played in a total of 9 football games that season, and he had 2 receptions for 12 yards. I'm not making that up. It's not a lie. And then he had 4 rushes for 7 yards. So, I mean, you're talking about a good player. He had 19 total yards on 6 touches. On the bright side of things, he didn't fumble the ball that year. And he still didn't catch a touchdown passes. And he limited his first down catches to 1 this year. So I could really tell that he was in a contract year, really trying to get the maximum amount of money that he could. You know, what can he do? Then that season was over. And then, I mean, in the 09-10 year, he must have signed a big deal. He went off the hook. And I'm not like, here's the hook. He was off it over to here where you can't see YouTube. That's how far off the hook he was. He played in all 16 games this year for the second time in his 4-year career. So, I mean, we're talking really value right now to a 7th round pick. And he had his 3rd best reception yards. He had 6 receptions. And on top of that, he had his second best receiving yards year, 52 receptions. Like once again I said, a really good quarter for Tony Gonzalez. Really good quarter for Tony Gonzalez. I mean, I'm not even making that up. Like, he's had better quarters. He's had better wet dreams. So, but he did have his best catch average, 8.7. Not too shabby. I mean, didn't Adrian Peterson like run for 8.7 yards last year? And they did keep. I mean, at least the last 3 years, he's remained consistent. He's rushed for 7 yards each of the last three years. So you know what? We keep him on our team for the next 10 years. He will still not have rushed for over 100 yards in his career. He'll rush for 91. And he will have averaged like 0.6 yards per carry. That's outstanding. You can't buy talent like that. You can't find talent like that at a flea market in hell. And I mean, he's accumulated for a total of 3 touchdowns this year, 2 touchdown catches. Oh my God. But then again, Brett Favre does make everybody look like they are the best football player on the face of the planet. Besides Amon Green, we all know Amon Green sucks. I mean, Amon Green could have been playing for the Vikings this year. Still would have been worse than Jeff Dugan. But by worse than Jeff Dugan, I mean Jeff Dugan is still the best player on the Vikings. That would have made Amon Green the second best player on the Vikings. I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to watch this. Have a nice one.